Hello, hello, greetings, and welcome to Storytime with Stephanie. I'm your host, Stephanie Outen, and Storytime with Stephanie is an opportunity for us to have independent, published authors to come on and share their stories of triumph, of tragedy, of joy. And tonight is no different. So we have a returning guest with us, one of our show favorites who has been with us before in season 3. And she's back again. Is Tracci Johnson, y'all, author of Dangerous Mistrust. Tracci Johnson is a master celebrity stylist, owner of Legacy Salon, former owner of Eclipse Salon on Melrose, and the founder of the women's ministry, The Ruth Group. She was mentored by Ron Newton, master stylist and son of Huey P. Newton. Tracci toured with Pebbles and Vogue, Babyface as key stylist, and she also serviced El DeBarge, LL Cool J and his wife Simone I. Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Nia Long, and the list is
It's
super
on.
long. We are so excited to have Tracci with us. Her talents have been displayed on ABC's Extreme Makeover, the Oscars, the Grammys, BET Awards, Image Awards. This woman is just phenomenal. And so, if you all remember when she was here last time and she talked about her story of dangerous mistrust, we're going to talk about it again because we want to know what Tracci has been up to. We want to know what's been going on with her since writing this book. And we want to know, what are some of the things that she wants to share with those of us now that this book has been out for some time. And so I want you all to welcome Tracci Johnson.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hey,
Hi.
Tracci.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you for coming back. We always enjoy having you. We remember having you on the show before, and then you and I did an Instagram chat after that because so many people were interested in hearing your story. And so we had some technical issues. We were trying to get live on both platforms. So hopefully those who are on Instagram can see us as well. But we are so happy to have you with us, Tracci. So before we dive right in to Dangerous Mistrust, I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about what's been going on with Tracci since the debut of this book.
Well, first of all, just grateful to God just for writing the book. And, I've gotten so much great feedback from the book, and reviews are just coming in constantly. People are telling me how their lives have been changed and how they've begun a journey of healing because of it. It's done everything that I thought it would do and wanted it to do. And I'm sure that God still has some plans for it. But it's just been very rewarding experience since it's come out because I've heard so many great things. And so I'm just grateful for that. But since the book has come out, I've been interviewed several times about the book, and it's just been, I've heard nothing but great things. But since then, I was already in the process of doing my transformational coaching business, and that has taken off and it's doing very well. Very, very excited about that. Because honestly, that is to me, transformation is the key. I didn't just want to write a book. I wanted there to be transformation that would take place. And I thought the best thing to do was actually walk people through their transformation.
Yes.
So that's what I've been doing recently. So we can talk more about that later, but that's what I've been into. And some other things, that I'm not disclosing right now, but
yes,
a lot of stuff going on, a lot of little irons in the fire, some achievements that I've, always wanted to conquer, that God has allowed me to step into. So it's been a blessing. I mean, I see my life unfolding. I'm in, I'm kind of like in a period of isolation right now. Because I believe that, God is ministering to me now before I really, do what he's calling me to do, like really get out there to do what he's calling me to do. He's ministering to me right now. So that's what's going on right now.
I love that. And that's the safest place to be. And that's the place where you don't share, right? And you don't tell everyone what's going on, because that's a sacred time for you and God. And when he's ready to thrust you out there and share with the world, he'll let you know when the time is right. And so we look forward to hearing all of that when God says it's time for you to step out.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
For those who didn't get a chance to see the first time that you were on the show, where we talked about dangerous mistrust, I want you to kind of just backtrack a little bit and tell the folks what brought you to the place of actually saying, now is the time to write this book. Why did you decide to write the book?
Well, I got to a place where I didn't have any choice. You know what I mean? You know how, when you have something heavy on you, I really felt like it was, I really felt like, I'm sorry, excuse me.
It's okay.
I really felt like it was time, because it was, how you just have this, it was like a fire, like, when the Bible talks about fire being shut up in your bones, that's exactly how I was feeling. I knew that I hadn't gone through all of the things that I had endured for so long, for nothing, and I felt it in my spirit that God was prompting me to really help someone else with it. But I didn't know at the time that it was because he wanted me to write a book. I didn't know what it was until he started speaking to me in my spirit. I told you that he woke me up in the middle of the night and pretty much gave me, what he wanted me to say, like all the chapters. He gave me the chapter titles and really what he did was interpreted what was on my spirit that I couldn't interpret myself. So he gave me, he interpreted all those things, because I couldn't really vocalize what was going on with me. And so when I was asleep, that's when he started to interpret everything. And I knew then, I was like, okay, so this is God. This is how he works with me. He works with people in different ways, but that's how he works with me. It's like sometimes I can't even figure out what it is that what I'm trying to say, but he will interpret it for me. Yeah.
And I've heard that from so many people recently, especially, those who really have been anointed to write, that God will speak to them in their spirit, come to them in dreams, come to them in visions. And that's literally what happened to you, to be able to bring this book to life. And so I know you remember when I read this book, I was like, oh my God, this is one of the best books I've ever read, because especially, I would say, a book that was more like a memoir, someone sharing their personal story. And I had sticky notes everywhere. I still have the sticky notes everywhere. And I had pages and pages of notes, because I really was dissecting this story, because I wanted to understand how, people see individuals from the outside. And they say, oh, she's beautiful, she's glamorous, she's a celebrity hairstylist, she's a beauty influencer. Oh my God, her life is so amazing. But they have no idea the things that you are walking through behind closed doors. And so tell us how Dangerous Mistrust, the title, came about. And the actual full title is Dangerous Mistrust: From the Death of Faith to the Resurrection of Destiny. Tell us a little bit about dangerous mistrust. And we shared previously in the other show about how people will think about distrust and how you can distrust, but this was mistrust. Tell us a little bit about the difference between mistrust and distrust, and why you got to the place of writing it as dangerous mistrust.
Well, when you're talking about distrust, you're talking about experiential circumstances. You have, maybe someone has lied to you, and so you don't trust them, or someone cheated on you and you don't trust that they can be faithful or loyal to you. Now, that's experiential, but mistrust is unfounded, and that's what you get when you don't trust God. It's a mistrust because God's never done anything to mess up your ability to trust him. He's never, let you down. He's never lied to you. He's never cheated on you. None of those things, right?
Yeah.
So when you distrust God, it's a mistrust because it's unfounded.
Yes.
It's it's brought on by your experiences,
Mhm.
your negative experiences, your life experiences.
Yes.
I mistrusted God based on how
Mm,
my father made me not trust,
mm,
because he would disappoint me time and time again. And he got me to a place where I started to view God the same way I viewed
mhm,
my earthly father.
mhm,
And that was unfounded, and it was unfair to God, because
mhm,
God had never, given me any reason not to trust him.
mm,
But my earthly father did, and that's what happened in my life. And so I had to learn how to trust God. But in my mistrust,
mhm,
I did a lot of things that got me off the road and off my path and out of the
mhm,
will of God,
mhm,
and which caused dangerous situations to occur in my life. And
mhm,
so that's what the book is about. It's about my journey. It's how I became this person who mistrusted God, but also about how God started to reveal himself to me
mhm,
and pursue me. And so I was able to see him in a through clearer
mhm.
lenses,
Yeah.
for the lack
Yeah.
of a better expression. Yeah.
Now you I am one that I try not to give away the book, right? I try
Mhm.
not to talk about everything that happened in the book, but one of the most significant things was that you did have this father wound that you
Mhm.
were, suffering through and challenged with. And I've spoken to so many women, and actually recently just did another show about father wounds and how
Mhm.
that father wound can be so deep that it impacts every relationship that you have. And even as you share that father wound that you had with your father, he was alive, he was there, um, or they can say there but not really present, right?
Right. Mhm.
Brought you to a place of you couldn't necessarily trust your earthly father, and so you transferred that same feeling onto God. So tell the viewers a little bit about your relationship with your father. What was it like growing up with your father?
Well, first of all, I didn't grow up with my father.
Mhm.
My mom and my dad, they divorced when I was 1. So I didn't never really knew what it was like to live with my father.
Yeah.
But throughout my life, my father was in and out of my life.
Mhm.
He would come around, just long enough to place all of this to damage me even further, basically, because he would make up these outlandish lies and promise me all kinds of things that never took place.
Yeah.
And so I would just be constantly disappointed by him, like time and time and time again.
Mhm.
And so it really wasn't I think it would have been better, to be honest with you, if he just never was
Mm.
around. But the
Mm.
fact that he was in and out the way that he was,
Mm.
it really set up something in me that it took me a long time to unlearn,
Ooh.
so.
Ooh, that's okay. That's deep because being someone who quote unquote, the daddyless daughter, my biological father was never there in my life. I probably only remember one major thing where I remember him, but he was
Mhm,
never in my life. I did have a stepfather.
mhm,
And for me, growing up and seeing my friends with their fathers, it always left this like gaping hole in me. And it made me feel like, well, what's wrong with me? You know? And why
mhm,
does he not love me? Why does he not want to be in my life? And to hear you say that it almost would have been better if he had not been in your life rather than the kind of coming back and forth, that makes me kind of question because it makes me think, ooh, if mine came back and forth, at least I would have gotten a chance to know him. But for you, you did know your father, but it sounds like maybe you didn't like some of the things that you were seeing in him, his characteristics. And those same things that you saw in him really took you to a place of, as you were growing up and as you began to enter relationships, it skewed the
mhm.
way you saw relationships.
It did, and I can't really even compare the 2, because I'm sure we both suffered some abandonment
Yeah.
situations, and I don't know how deeply your wounds were. But for me, yeah, him being a part of my life, him actually knowing me, seeing me, this, cute little girl, this little innocent little cute little girl, but you like dismiss her as if she's nothing, and you lie to her without a conscience, and I don't know. I don't know how that what that did, I don't know if it would have been much different if he just never showed up. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah.
I think if he didn't know me, then maybe I could use that as an excuse. Well, he didn't know me. He really didn't really lay eyes on me or never really got to know me. So, then, it's not really, still a loss because he never tried. But at the
Yeah.
same time, once somebody is in your presence and they see you and they hold you and they, been around you,
Yeah.
and they still just kind of like dismiss you, I'm not sure if the
Yeah.
damage is different or not. You know what I mean? I just really don't know. But
Yeah.
I will say that, some of the other things that really struck me were the fact that he would like have girlfriends throughout my life that had children, or wives
Yeah.
that he would have that had children, and he would do for them and then come brag to me about what he did for their children. And then I'm looking like, okay, but I'm your child. I'm your
Yeah.
baby girl. I'm not even, I'm your little baby girl. I'm your youngest. And you're gonna brag to me about what you're doing for someone else's children. And they have a father. Their father might be as a terrible father, but they at least
Right.
have one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, those kinds of things, it did affect me.
Yeah.
It did
And
affect
ultimately, your father did pass away, but you were able to, um, I don't know, would we call it like mend your relationship with your father in some respect, right?
Well, I will say, as I got older, I developed more of a relationship with my father.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to Los Angeles, we had some ups and downs because when I first moved to Los Angeles, I thought that I was going to be able to live with him, to get on my feet.
Yeah.
But he another big disappointment because he made it impossible for me to live with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that was a big, blow to my to my self-esteem and to everything,
Yeah.
And so I was really having these all along. I was hoping and praying that at some point we would develop a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept disappointing me. Even as an adult, he kept disappointing me.
Mm-hmm.
And, as I got older, I stopped having expectations of him.
Yeah.
And I just started to see him for who he was.
Mm.
And I think at that point, that's when I started the process of forgiveness,
Okay.
because I realized who he was, and I knew that he was incapable of really being the kind of father that I've always longed for. So I just grieved the fact that he wasn't ever going to be that father.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I put that to rest. And then I just really accepted him for who he was. And then when I did that, I started to develop compassion for him. I started to see him for who he really was and to really try to understand him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I sought to understand him and God revealed who he was to me, then I was able to forgive him, because
Yeah.
I realized that he was just a deeply hurt person himself. And there was no need for me to continue to hold any type of unforgiveness towards him, because he did the best he could with what he had been dealt.
Yeah. Yeah. You literally just gave a blueprint, especially to those women who have experienced similar situations with father wounds, and getting to a place where they maybe did not have a relationship with their father as when they were younger, and then growing up even into adulthood, and then having some form of relationship with their father, to be able to get to that place of forgiveness and
Mhm.
to just accept that person for who they are. and recognize that the issue was not you.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest part of it, right? Is recognizing it's not you, it's truly them. And so I appreciate you sharing that, because it does help. And I think so many women, especially, we are in that place where we allow, those wounds to carry over into everything, because we don't get to that place of forgiveness. And so thank you for giving that blueprint.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, it was a journey, but it was transformative, and I had to go through those steps for me. It wasn't even for him. It was for me. And thank God I did, because it really was the foundation for God to build upon.
Yeah.
Because to me, you can't really even build on a foundation if you still holding any type of unforgiveness or anything. You really cannot grow from unforgiveness.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Now, there were a lot of other situations that you faced that would, pretty traumatic situations. For some people, they would not necessarily be able to overcome, especially when you deal with a series of traumatic experiences back to back, and you almost feel like, okay, what is the purpose of this life?
Right.
Tell us about some of the things that pulled you into a place of toxicity. So when you think about some of the traumas that you face, some of the things that you were walking through, and it kind of got in your soul and you felt like, ugh, this is a lot of negativity, and it almost put you in a place of negativity. Share with us some of those things that brought you into, or share with us some of the traumatic things that brought you into a place of toxicity. And then how did you begin to walk and work yourself out of that place of toxicity?
Well, when you have a dad who really plants in your mind basically that you don't have much value, then that kind of shapes your trajectory. Yeah. And so you have this sense that I don't have value. And so you go about life trying to find value, not really in yourself so much. You don't realize that you do have the value there. You just don't realize the value. You don't see it yet in yourself. So you're trying to look outside of yourself to find value. So that was what I was doing. I was going from, into toxic relationships, trying to find value. My whole thing was, I need to show you all that I have to offer. So then maybe you'll need me, and then you'll value me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm laying everything out there. I'm doing for you whatever you're lacking in your life. I'm gonna feel that, because I'm here. I am to save the day. You know what I mean? that was me. And so, but I will tell you this, that what really taught me my value was being in valueless relationships. That is, to be honest, that is what taught me what I remember. I mean, I went from glory to glory to glory, in relationships. It was like, one of them, it was one that was, pretty bad. Then the next one got a little bit better, and the next one got a little bit better. Yeah. But I will tell you that my last situation, my last marriage, I will say, taught me my value the most. I think I learned the absolute most in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I thought I knew going in. I thought I did, but it was disguised. So my same traits and personality traits were disguised. All I did was I fixed it up a little bit better. I made it seem like it was something else, but it really was still that same thing. It didn't appear to be the same issues that I had in the previous relationships. But honestly, I learned the most in this one than I ever learned in anything else, because this is when I really learned that I can ask for what I really want.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't have to settle for anything that is not for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to, say, well, this is good enough, or this, I can work with this. I can, no, that's not, no, I'm a kingdom daughter. I'm a daughter of the Most High God. I don't have to settle for anything.
Woo.
I don't have to. I don't.
Oh my God.
I realized in that relationship that God really showed me my true value. He showed me who I really, really was. And then he showed me what I really, really deserve and what I really don't deserve.
Yeah.
And I had to go through that in order to see that, because I don't think that I could have learned that any other way. I really had to go through that in order to know, because I am solid now.
Yes.
Knowing who I am and what I have to offer. I'm solid in that now. I'm really solid. And it's almost I can't even say it. And it's funny because I laugh at myself sometimes, because I'm almost like a little snooty about who I am now. You know what I mean? Like,
and you can be. That's all right.
I'm almost a little snooty about it. I'm like, no, get away from me, basically.
Like, do you know who I am?
I ain't said it. I haven't said it out my mouth, but I'm almost to the place where I'm like, get away from me. You don't know my value.
That's
you
right.
can't see my value.
That's right.
You can't. What? You can't see it?
I love it. But see, that comes from growth.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's that self-discovery work that you had to do on yourself.
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. And I'm so at peace now.
Yeah.
I'm so at peace with who I am and where I'm going and what I'm going to allow in my life and what I'm not. I'm very, very clear about that. Very, very clear.
I love that. And so, Tracci, for the people who have not read this book or purchased this book yet, Iceland says, I'm hollering with the snooty. Yes.
A little snooty, girl. You got to be a little snooty, a little bit.
Snooty.
You can't just let anybody up in your space now.
Okay. Especially when you know you're a king's kid.
A king's kid.
You're a king's kid.
Yes.
You get to be snooty. You get to be particular about what you allow to enter into your space. And that's where you had to get.
If it ain't supernatural, I don't want it.
That's
the honest to God truth. It's got to be supernatural. I mean supernatural. Yes. If it ain't supernatural, I don't want it. I just don't. I really, really don't. I just don't.
So for any, if there's men that are listening, listen clearly, because she's telling you exactly what she does not want. Don't try to come. Okay. Don't try to be the wolf in sheep's clothing. Don't try to do all that. Like, we need you to really, literally come correct.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Come correct. Because Lord, Tracci has endured some stuff in relationships. Iceland says, absolutely. People tell me I'm picky now. I'm responding now. I'm snooty.
That's my girl. Be a little snooty. Ain't nothing wrong with being a little snooty.
I love it.
You got to know. And I'm trying to tell you, I mean, I'm a mosaic now, girl. Ooh, I mean, seriously.
Good.
I am a mosaic. I have been broken in so many pieces, but God has put me back together in a beautiful, beautiful work of art. That's who I am. I'm telling you. And it requires someone who has the capability. Now, the problem is men not having the capability.
Jesus.
You got to have the capability of seeing that mosaic.
Yes.
Understanding how valuable that thing is. Now, the problem is some people see it as just some crushed glass.
Yes.
They don't even see the beauty in it. You have to be anointed to see the beauty in it.
Oh, come on, Tracy.
You understand what I'm saying?
Come on, Tracy.
That's what I'm talking about. If you ain't anointed to see it, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I know what that looks like. Yeah. I know what it looks like now for a man to be anointed to see it. And a man who's not. And a man who's an amateur, who doesn't understand.
Oh, that's not an amateur.
When he sees it, honey. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm sorry. And that's just, that's where I am now. I am.
The comments are having me crack up because I can see the comments off to the side too. I'm cracking up because I'm seeing people are taking notes, Tracy. Okay. She said, girl, I'm taking notes. If it ain't kingdom, I don't want it.
That's glory. I'm trying to tell you, it's got to be kingdom. It's got to be kingdom. We don't play, and we're not playing in these days and times. If it's not kingdom, don't come at me.
That's right.
Talking about, okay, just a prime example. This man, he was very intelligent, extremely intelligent. I'm definitely looking for smart. I gotta have that intelligence, right?
Yes.
And the devil know what I like. The devil knows.
Oh, yes.
So, but he ain't that bright though. The devil ain't that bright because he came at me. We were speaking for like a couple of weeks or whatever. We were talking. I never really gave him my actual phone number.
Oh, you gave him the fake phone number. Okay.
No, we were talking through Facebook. I said, you call me on Facebook. And so we were talking through Facebook. Seriously.
That's good. That's good.
So, extremely just brilliant, enjoyed the conversation. And then he started to get sexual.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Instant turn off for me.
Yep.
Instantly. And I said, devil, you ain't that smart now. You gonna bring somebody, at least have him act like he holy for a moment now.
Oh my God.
Instant turn off for me. Instantly.
Oh my God.
Like, see, I don't want nobody. This is what I don't want this time. I don't want nobody who's gonna be holy just for me.
Oh, Jesus.
I want you to have been holy before you got to me. Okay.
Somebody put that in the comments.
I'm trying to tell you.
My God.
Don't say, oh yeah, I can do it just for, if that's the kind of relationship you want, then I can do that. No.
Oh my God.
What are your standards?
Jesus.
How do you view God and your relationship with God?
Ooh.
What is your standard of holiness?
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
Ooh.
That's what I want to know.
And those are the questions you ask up front. And if they cannot answer them, then you got to go. Oh my God. I love it.
Instant turn off for me. Instant.
What are your standards of holiness?
Yes.
Okay. Look,
that's what I want to know. What's
I'm
your
so glad this gets recorded.
Huh?
I'm so glad this gets recorded because I need. I'm gonna go back and take my notes because I'm like, Lord Jesus, this is amazing. So,
but you know what? Let me just tell you this though. And even though I was living holy before, even in my other relationships, I didn't ask what your standards of holiness was. I didn't, because I figured it was enough if you decided to do it just because I'm doing it. That's what I used to think.
Wow.
But when I say supernatural, I'm talking about a whole nother. I'm talking kingdoms. I'm talking kingdom. And not everybody understands kingdom. They understand, that other part that I'm talking about. But when I'm talking about kingdom, when I talk about supernatural, I'm talking about kingdom.
Yeah.
And I'm glad somebody in the comments recognized what I was talking about because she understands.
Oh my God.
I'm not playing those games. I'm not playing those games with my life anymore.
Yeah.
I will never play those games. No, you're not the man for me if you want to have sex with me before marriage.
And that's the thing. Ooh. When you look, y'all, when you get this book and y'all read some of, okay, Iceland says that's where you swipe up, block this caller, writing, don't be holy just for me. I needed this 8 years ago. And I know Iceland personally, so absolutely, yes. I needed it 8 years ago too, okay? Like, Lord, have mercy. We needed this conversation.
Girl, we all needed it. Shoot.
Okay? We needed to know. Look, we didn't need to know you back then, Tracci. We need you now because of the
now.
Tracci you
Now's
are
the
today.
time. Now's the time. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell
All
you.
of your lived experiences are here to help us so that we don't fall into these traps and make the same mistakes. And there is a I shared in the first show about how the first 7 pages of this book like locked me in. My whole chest was just tight. Like, and when I tell y'all, my chest was tight, and I was like, Lord Jesus, am I gonna make it through this book? Because my heart was racing for you. And to know that you were in that situation. Now, I never asked this back then, but the person that brought you to the place where you were, and I'm not telling y'all because I want y'all to read the book, purchase the book, jump on Amazon and get that book. But the person that got you to the place where you ended up, right. Was that the last person that you were with?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So no, and a lot of people think that. They think that the first story is the story that I picked up on the end.
Okay.
It's not. It's two different stories. Now, well, let me just tell you, one story the last story I gave grace, okay? I did not talk about all, because that story is worse than the first story.
Oh God.
Okay. So I didn't talk about that because that was too new. That was too new. It was too new. I wasn't trying to slander. I wasn't trying to do any of that. I gave grace. But to be honest with you, that story was worse than the first story. Yeah. Ooh. Remember, you saw in the end when I talked about the Lord made me rewrite this whole chapter.
Yes. Okay. And I said, I think I remember saying something about how that also spoke to your level of growth, because you could have easily disparaged,
destroyed,
and destroyed, right?
Yeah, but that was not what God had called me to do. No. I can't be a child of the King and I'm destroying somebody like that. I couldn't do that. Ooh. So, I had to use a lot of grace when I wrote the last chapter. In fact, I used a lot of grace all the way across, even with the first story. Yes. I had to really, use some grace with that as well. But, that was, and that was a prime example of me allowing someone in my life that had no business being there.
Yeah.
You don't, if we're not matched spiritually, you have no business in my life.
Yeah.
Every husband, every boyfriend, that I've been with, they had to wait. If boyfriend, they was going to have to wait to marriage.
Yes.
As a husband, they was going to have to wait to marriage, right? Now, but the problem was, did any of them come saying that this was their standard as well? Absolutely not.
Right.
No one came with that standard. They all came with, oh, is this what I have to do to get you?
But the place where you were in your life at that time left room for them to feel like it was okay to come in. Right?
Absolutely, because I allowed something in my life that had no business being there.
That's right.
It had no business being there. Because if I had understood who I was and what my value was, they wouldn't have been there in the first place. Yes. They wouldn't have even been nowhere in my vicinity. I would have been snooty enough to say, what are you doing here?
Yes.
Get away from me.
So tell us.
I would have been snooty enough to say that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't then. I wasn't.
No. But you got the snooty down pat now, girl, so that you would never be in that situation again.
Yes, girl. Look, I'm the poster child for snooty now.
Oh my God. Look,
I'm nice,
hashtag snooty.
I'm nice though. I'm nice. I'm not going to just crush nobody. I'm nice with it. But
Tracci is super nice. She's super sweet.
But in my spirit, I'm saying, get away from me.
Yes.
You have no business here. Okay.
That's right. That's right. And it's because of all of those lived experiences that you can get to the place where you are now. And so if you were speaking to that woman that, has walked through so many of these difficult relationship traumas, because you literally experience trauma after trauma after trauma in these relationships, what would be some of the things that you would share in order to help that woman find and discover her value? Like take her through the things that you had to do for yourself to actually get to that place of saying, I'm worth way more than this, and I will never allow myself to go backward. I will never allow myself to go to dismiss my standards in order to just have someone in my life. What would you say to her?
Well, first of all, I would say, see, so many people are not honest with themselves.
Yes.
That's number one. Be honest with you. Look at all your relationships and understand that you're the common denominator. Yes. What is it about you that attracted these men into your life and you allow this to be a part of your life? What is it about you? Yeah. Now, if you're brutally honest with yourself, you will tell yourself, okay, this is because I did not feel that I could have something better than this. You know what I'm saying? At the time. So once you're honest with yourself, then you can start healing. You can't heal if you're not honest.
Yes.
You cannot say, you can't walk the journey of healing if you haven't opened the door to like your trauma.
Yes.
You gotta be honest and you gotta see yourself for who you really, really are. You have to be authentic with yourself. And so once you get to that place and you've been honest, so many people, they have said to me, reading my book, because I'm so open and transparent.
So transparent. Yes.
People kind of are taken aback by it because they're not used to that level of transparency. But that's how honest you got to be. You got to be that. You have to be that, because you can't grow. Just like I said, you can't grow from being up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes. You got to grow from being down here.
Oh God.
You got to be honest, and you got to tell the truth. And the truth is your foundation. The truth is the soil in which you'll start growing. It's got to be grown in truth. And so once I realized the truth, and I said to myself, Tracy, you don't see yourself the way that you don't see yourself for who you really are, because guess what? I've always been this Tracy. I just didn't know it.
Yes.
And it was just because I didn't know it. Other people would see me and think that, oh, Tracy, you got it all together. You this, you that, you this. I have been that all along, but I just didn't know it. Once I came into the knowledge of who I am and who I truly am and what I have to offer and the gift that God has put in me, and now I'm going to be stingy about who I give this gift to.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I'm not giving this gift to just anybody. You got to be worthy. You have to be worthy. You got to be kissed by the Father as well. You can, what I'm saying? You got to be kissed by him. And you have to have gone through that journey as well, that you have been so authentic and real with yourself that you really realize who you are. Because honestly, it's not so much that, I can't really blame the men that I allowed in my life. I really can't.
Right.
Because to be honest with you, they weren't even capable of seeing my value. They weren't capable of it. Because you know why they weren't capable? Because they never walked my journey. They never walked that journey of healing, and they never walked that journey of truth with themselves. Because once you start being truthful with yourself, then you can start seeing things the way they really are.
Yes.
But if everybody has on a mask, and you're pretending to be this person or you're pretending to be this person, you can't ever live in truth.
My God.
You're living a false reality all the time. So the fact that you're in a relationship with somebody, you're really living a false reality because you really can't see them because you can't see you.
That's right. That's right. And the both of y'all are just faking the funk in front of each other.
Just faking it.
Look, you just added another hashtag, stingy and snooty. Stingy and snooty. Stingy and snooty. I'm gonna add that hashtag.
Right.
For the people that don't know, a lot about your journey, even through becoming a celebrity hairstylist, you suffered under the weight of self-doubt, right? And because you didn't really fully understand your value back then, you allowed yourself to lose out on some amazing opportunities. However, even in losing out on those opportunities, because the Father always knew who you were, he still allowed you to elevate. Yes. He still allowed you to walk through some of those challenging, because my God, like every time I think about your story, I'm like, how is this woman still standing? Like, I just don't even understand. Like, it's like you put your foot in trauma and you took the left foot and you stepped in trauma again. And it's like quicksand could have literally pulled you down, but you never gave up. You never gave up. Even when you like were broke to the broke. Yes. You still found a way to say, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to press forward. I'm still going to succeed. And so I want you to talk to those people, men, women, even like teenagers who are in the place of feeling like self-doubt could cripple them. They know that they're destined to do something. They may not know exactly what it is. You always had a gift with hair. That was your gifting. What would you say to that person who has met obstacle after obstacle trying to pursue their dream, and they are in a place of doubting that they're actually supposed to be doing this and they want to give up? As someone who did not give up and has been able to receive the accelerated blessings to be where you are today, what would you say to those people who need to hear that kind of encouragement?
Well, I'm going to say this. Although, I've gone through a lot of traumatic experiences, I've always known that I was destined for greatness. And it didn't have anything to do with my daddy. It had everything to do with God. And I knew that there was something better, even though I wasn't living in the better. Yeah. Even though I didn't have the hope of, no, I'm sorry. I didn't really understand how it was going to come, but I always had the hope that it would. Yeah. And so I lived my life, even though I didn't see how it was going to make it, because I had the imposter syndrome most of my life. And so I found myself in situations that I'm like, how did I get here? Yeah. And do I even belong here? Most of my life I suffered from the imposter syndrome up until just recently. So here I am, successful, but wondering how the heck did I get here? People would look at me from the outside and thinking, oh, she's so uppity and she thinks she's this and she thinks she's that, and have no idea that I don't even know how in the world I got here. And I couldn't feel like that even if I tried. You know what I mean? Yes. So I never felt that way. Never have felt that way. But I always felt that I was on my way somewhere. That's for every one of us. Yeah. My purpose was somewhere. So why I was born was somewhere. Yes. I mean, I hadn't gotten there yet, but yet is the operative word. I just hadn't gotten there yet. Yeah. And so that's what kept me going all of my life, because I knew, I felt it. I felt something in the pit of my stomach, and I still do. Yeah. I felt something in the pit of my stomach that said, Tracci, I'm gonna take you somewhere. You
Yeah.
going somewhere. Now
Yeah.
you ain't there yet because you kind of jacked up a little bit, but you on your way.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so I've always felt that. And I don't even know how I felt that, because to be honest with you, it didn't come from, my earthly father telling
Yeah.
me you're gonna be somebody someday,
Yes.
It didn't come from that. So so I it was, of course, at some point, I know God is the one who placed that in me. Of course,
Yes.
it was him that placed that in me. And so so I was just looking forward to what he was going to do in the future. So I knew my future was going to be great. I always felt that way.
Yeah.
I always felt that way. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know if I had it in me to make it happen. I just felt like I didn't.
Yeah.
But I knew that God could do it. And that's where I am right now. I'm not saying that I'm even equipped or qualified for anything that's coming.
Yeah.
But I know that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So that's what I feel. And I'm there. I'm there in my life right now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's what we should all be. We should all know that there's a purpose for our lives. And that
Yes.
God has a plan for us. And we
Yes.
should never give up on that. I don't care how low it is. I don't care how dark it gets. Anytime you hear a success story, you always hear darkness before the dawn.
Oh,
It's
yes.
always darkness before the dawn.
Absolutely.
So don't count and discount the darkness, because the darkness is where you're going to grow, and the darkness is how you're going to sustain.
Yes.
Those are the lessons that you learn when you get to the mountaintop. You have to have those valley experiences to really sustain the mountaintop experience.
Yes. I saw Carolyn's comment. She said, don't give up, trust God's timing. And it is true. There is a season of preparation that we all have to go through.
Yes.
And that season may feel like 10,000 seasons of darkness, right? And it may feel like you're never going to come out of it, but there is a promise on the other side. And that promise is that you will make it, right? And for you, Tracci, going from that place of having that dangerous mistrust in God to actually being able to get to a place of developing this deep, loving relationship with him.
Yes.
This personal relationship with him, that when you begin to question, like, who am I? And he began to speak to you about who you are. And it allowed your value to begin to show up, right? Yeah. And that's where people have to get to that place of that deep, deep relationship. And I saw Deborah had a quote, a comment, Tracci's book is an absolute blessing. I saw so much of myself, and I have received healing in many areas after reading her book. Deborah, I feel exactly the same.
Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah, this book is truly about healing. It is. Yes, we discover all of the trauma, and I won't even say all, so many of the traumas that you experience, but you don't just leave us there. You don't leave us in the trauma. You don't leave us in the pain, right? You literally give, I like to call it the blueprint. You give the schematics, right? You say, these are the things that I had to do. This is the work that I had to do to be able to get to the place where I am today. And that's what every great book should do. Get you to a place of saying, there's work that I need to do.
Yes.
Something in me is broken, right? Tracci talked about that mosaic. And I love that, because that's something I say about myself too. We're kindred. But
that's right.
Yes. It's that place of being able to say, I know I can rise above. And so this book does that. It helps you to see that you may walk through so many storms, but when you literally do the work, the introspective work,
yes,
and you do put your life in God's hands, and you do say, Lord, okay, look, I want you to make me over, and I'm willing to allow you to do the work through me that needs to happen. Because on the other side, the work that Tracci has done has literally healed, set free, delivered so many people. I read the testimonials constantly that are shared on her page. And it just does my heart so good to see that, because I know what the book did for me. And so, Deborah, I thank you for sharing that comment, because it's so true. There's healing in this book.
Let me just tell you, the biggest piece to this is, because I didn't really understand how much God loved me, because I didn't have the love of my father to really show me what that's supposed to look like. I had no idea, no clue what a father felt like, what it felt like to have a daddy. I didn't know. And I just remember God just started pursuing me, because we talked about this before.
Yes.
God started pursuing me, and he started to let me see what it was like to have a father. He just really, it was like he just wrapped his arms around me and made me feel safe. And when that started to happen, and it only happened because I started to seek him, and I started to seek his face. And I didn't want a superficial relationship with him. I wanted a real deep, intimate, close relationship with him. And I'm gonna tell you, there's nothing in life more fulfilling than that. There's absolutely nothing in life more fulfilling than that. And we try to replace that with all kinds of other things. Our jobs, our children, our husbands, our family, our this or whatever. But to be honest with you, the most joy and peace and fulfillment that I've ever experienced are the times where I felt the closeness of the Father, and his love, and just knowing that he cares about me, cares about all the intricate details of my life. That part right there is when I realized my value. I was like, this heavenly Father who is the father of all of mankind, but he cares about little old me, but not just about little old me, but about every intricate detail of my life. When he started to show me that by like doing things that, just little things that I would ask for, and it would just be little stuff. It wouldn't even be anything major, but just that he heard me, that he would just make it happen. And it was just like him tapping me, just letting me know, I hear you, baby. I hear you. Daddy hears you. Daddy loves you. And I'm telling you, it just was a series of things like that happening in my life that just made me understand that he really does value me, that he really does love me, and that he cares about me more than anything. He cares about me. That's huge. When you realize God cares about you. People can love you, but do they care about you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Care about your heart, care about things that you care about.
Yes.
Everybody don't care about things you care about. But when you realize that our Heavenly Father cares about everything that you care about, that is a huge revelation. That was a huge revelation for me. It just increased my intimacy with him. And so from that day forward, I haven't been the same. I really haven't.
That right there is the place where I want, and Deborah says powerful, love versus care. Love versus care. Tracci, I want you to talk about, and for those who are watching on Instagram, I think it's going to cut us off in about 3 minutes. So I want to give Tracci the opportunity to share about the Ruth Group and share about the coaching that she's doing, so that you all have an opportunity to know how you can be a part of this amazing work that this woman is doing. So share with us, Tracci.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about my transformational coaching business. It's called Value Unveiled. And I help high achieving single Christian women to transcend past adversities, rediscover and define their value, and embrace authenticity in a way that will activate her passion to attract a life that she deeply loves. That's who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking to. And I can deal with her because I am her. That's what God has delivered me from. And that's who he's brought me into. Being a woman who can attract the life that I deeply desire, and the life that I deeply love.
Ooh.
And so that's who I am, and that's where I am, and that's what I'm doing now. That is, the main thing that I'm working on right now, because I just believe that God has anointed me for such a time as this. He's blessed me to bless other people, especially women like myself,
Yes.
who have been stuck, maybe who suffer from the imposter syndrome, maybe who's had a series of painful relationships, maybe they haven't been married at all. Maybe they think that their life is over because they haven't, had the love of their life enter their life. My goal in my life is for people to introduce women to a God who will wrap his arms around you, who will help you feel fulfilled, and who will love you, and who will usher in to your life all the promises that he has for you and for your life. But you just have to be in position to receive those things. And so my job is to help you get into position.
And how can they find that information, Tracci?
They can email me at love, LUV, Tracci, TRACCI, JOHNSUSON @gmail.com. Love Tracci Johnson @gmail.com if they're interested in transformational coaching.
All right. And we'll put that in the comments. And what we also will do is this episode, the replay is going to be on our YouTube channel at It's Storytime with Stephanie. So make sure that as Instagram goes off, we're still here live on Facebook, but you can finish up watching the replay to hear anything additional that Tracci's going to share. But again, that's YouTube at It's Storytime with Stephanie, because we want you to hear the rest of Tracci's story and anything else that she's going to share. But love Tracci Johnson @gmail.com for the transformational coaching, because you definitely want to receive that from her. So Tracci.
Yes.
What else outside of the transformational coaching? And yep, we have it in the comments there. Outside of the transformational coaching, what's next with Dangerous Mistrust?
Well, there's a sequel, honey.
Like, is there a book too?
Oh yeah, there's a couple of books that are in me right now.
Yes.
That I'm getting ready to start working on. Actually, I've already started working on. Yeah, I have like so many books inside of me, because you can't put everything in one book.
Right.
So there's so much more to tell. There's so many more things that that God is raising up in me and actually reminding me of. And I got journals. I'm a journal writer, so I got a lot of journals and stuff. So I have I'm working on something. I'm working on a sequel to Dangerous Mistrust. I am. Yeah. But my ending hasn't arrived yet though. So I'm waiting on my ending to show up.
Okay.
So yeah. And then I'm actually working on a journal for women. It's called All the King's Daughters.
Oh, I love that.
It's a transformational journal.
Excellent.
And so it's gonna have like thought-provoking things that you can write about and stuff like that. So I'm working on that right now. So so anyway, just letting you guys know, be on the lookout for that. And what else? That's it.
Will there be are you going to have a website dedicated to it? So I know you have your TracciJohnson.com website. Will people be able to find information in regards to the coaching as well as the journal? Will they be able to purchase your products there as well?
Yeah, once the products are available. The coaching I don't really have on the TracciJohnson.com website as of now.
Okay.
But you can contact me with Love Tracci Johnson @gmail.com, and if you're interested in that part of yeah.
And I saw Phyllis's comment. She said, "I can't wait for the sequel. Tracci left us hanging. Hurry up." And yes,
Look, we better tell God to hurry up.
No. We don't want to rush God because this is like the perfectly baked cake.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we don't want to take it out too soon. We want it to be perfect. We want it to be moist. We
Well,
want it to be succulent.
I don't think it's gonna take 7 years though, like the first one. It's
Right.
not taking 7 years because no, it's this one is not going to take that long, but it's gonna be it's something. God is gonna do something with this one. Yes.
Let me tell you something. I felt like there was a book too. I felt it, and I'm like, man, how much more can I take? Because again, my chest was so tight, and I'm like,
I tell you, from the end of that book to now, God has given me so much more.
Yeah.
I've grown so much more even because that book ended after my last relationship ended. And so the lessons that I learned from that, I hadn't even experienced really yet.
My God.
So now I have a whole nother level of experience that I can, put into this new book, which is, I'm excited. I'm excited to share. But God he's downloaded all this stuff in me, but he has to organize it because, and that's what he's good at. He's good at organizing your thoughts and getting it together. So I'm working on, but I do keep my notes. I got my journals. I'm ready.
Excellent.
I'm ready. The last one, I didn't really have my journals. I had to had to remember a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have everything written in my journals. But after I wrote Dangerous Mistrust, I said, Tracy, you got to keep journals. And so I've been really keeping my journals, and I've been current with my journals. So I'm ready. I'm ready for the next.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad. And there's a quote from your book that I always, I hung on to it, where it says, I haven't seen the best God has for me. I haven't seen the best God has for me. And I took that for myself, but I know that was for you. You have not seen the best that God has for you. And even where you are today, even after everything that you have gone through, and even the things that, like you said, you're going to be writing about, like you have not yet seen the best that God has for you. And I don't know why. Every time I talk to you, I feel like I'm going to get choked up and cry. I don't know what this is.
I feel the same way.
I like it because there's just something on you, right? There is this, you have God all over you. Oh, you have God all over you, and you speak to not just the heart of women, you speak to our souls, right? You speak to our souls. You speak our language. That's what it is. You speak our language, right? And it is a language of the kingdom. And those who understand kingdom know what I mean, right? Yes. You walk heavy in the spirit. You have a weight to you that God is allowing you to release in this time and in this atmosphere to women who desire to wake up. Wake up. Yeah.
I received that. I received that. Sometimes you wonder, what is God doing? Sometimes you feel it because you're like in a holding pattern. And that's how I feel like I'm in a holding pattern. And I'm like, are you going to use me? And are the things that I'm seeing in my dreams, are they ever going to come true? I still suffer from a little bit of imposter syndrome. I still do because I doubt certain things sometimes in myself. You know how we do, know. And so but when you say stuff like that, it just kind of reminds me of some of the things that God has spoken over me and told me about what's going to happen in my future. And it's just a reminder of that. And my aunt said God honors obedience, and and I will say that I'm one who really cares about how God sees me. I live my life like that. I'm not a person who, I'm not two people.
Ooh, that's good.
I don't have no secrets in the dark places. Like book, I'm the same person here as I am behind closed doors. I don't play those games with God or with people, so I know that God has his hand on me because he don't allow me to get out of line. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what I know.
Woo,
No, he won't let me get out of line.
Jesus.
He will not. And you know what? And I've known that all my life, where even though I have been in some situations that weren't good,
Mm-hmm.
I always knew that God had boundaries. I had boundaries around me. You know,
Yes.
it was like he was saying, okay, you can't go no further than this. This is how far
Mm.
you're going outside of that. You just not. And I'm so grateful to him for that, because
Yeah.
he's kept me in. And then I always remember, to whom much is given, much is required. And
Yes.
I say, and I live my life like that, because I say God has given, but his promises are big in my life.
Yes.
And so much is required of me.
Mm.
And I take responsibility like that. I
Yeah.
take responsibility. And I'm so grateful that
Mm.
I have that in me, that's something in me that he placed in me. It don't have nothing to do with me. He placed that desire in me
Yes.
to care about how he views me,
Mm.
live my life with integrity. I'm so grateful for that.
Mm.
I know that that's not every day.
Yeah.
I know that it's not every day that people think like that. It's not every day that people think kingdom minded. That's not every day. I
That's
get
right.
that. So I understand that, and I take that as there's a plan.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I take
Yeah.
that as that. And it don't have nothing to do with me. I'm not even taking credit for that. It has
Mm.
nothing to do with me. But there's a plan, and it's bigger than me.
Yes.
They don't have, I can't even comprehend it. I don't know what it's going to be, but I do believe there's a plan. And I really, really do. And I'm just waiting
Woo.
on it to feel it. That's all. I'm just
Yeah.
waiting with anticipation.
Well, look, what I heard for you is two things. I heard vet your team, vet your team. So whatever team you have, vet them, because
Mhm,
not everyone can go with you on the next level where you're going. Okay.
mhm,
And I
mhm,
also heard for you, get ready for takeoff. So
mm,
you
mm.
you
I received that. I
look,
received it.
the plans God has for you are good, and it is acceleration time, right?
Mm,
And it's time
mm,
for you to put your running shoes on
mm.
because you got to run into this thing fast, quick, and you need to have the right people with you to do that. So
Right.
begin to pray in the spirit that God aligns the right people to be
Mhm.
in this place in this time with you, because you're
Yeah.
going to need them, because you cannot do all of this on your
Right.
own.
Absolutely
Okay?
not.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're going to need people to surround you and undergird you,
Yes.
So we'll be
Mhm.
praying for that for you as well. So everybody that's listening, let's be in prayer for Tracci on that, because it's going to be something so big and you need the right people to support you in it. So we'll
Okay.
definitely be praying for you and supporting you
Thank
and
you.
trusting that everything God desires to do through you, it's going
Mhm.
to be done, because
Right.
you are truly an open vessel for him, and he
Thank
loves that. So he honors that,
Mm.
and you honor him with the way that you live. And I'm grateful that you even took the time to come back and be with us again.
Thank you. I mean, I just felt, I don't know. I just felt like we had some unfinished things to discuss,
Yeah.
I like sitting down with you anyway, because you're always so prepared.
Oh,
I don't
thanks.
think I've ever had an interviewer who was more prepared than you.
Mm,
You get it, and you see it through the right lenses, and I'm grateful
mm,
to you for that. And
thank
we
you.
we, we have a connection, and it's a
Yeah.
kingdom connection, and I'm grateful for
Yes.
that. So yeah.
Yes, my kingdom sister, y'all. I
Yeah.
just love and appreciate you. And I always have to shout out Phyllis Cadell of PCPR Communications for the
Thank you.
connection. Hey, Phyllis. Thank you. Lord, continue to bless Tracci with wisdom. Yes, Miss Carolyn. We're
Thank
going
you,
to continue to
Auntie.
pray for that.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
So we thank you. Tracci, is there anything else, any closing word? I don't want to say final words, any closing words that
Well,
you want to share?
yeah, just continue to pray for me. I'm doing some things I got a lot going on right now that I really can't. God will not allow me to talk about, really,
and
to be
don't.
honest with you. And I'm not, and He won't let me talk about it. But I have a lot going on. It's very challenging. It's stretching me. Okay, it is stretching me, but I know that it's for the good of what He has planned for me. So this is all a part of the plan. So I just want you guys to keep me lifted up in prayer. I mean, whenever you say your prayers, please just say my name, shout it out, just shout it out in your prayer. Just ask the Lord for strength, wisdom, and patience. Now, I don't necessarily want you to pray for patience, because I know that comes with trials and tribulations,
and you've had enough of those.
Yeah, I just want to be anxious for nothing and just allow God to unfold the things that He wants to do. And I'm just let me be ready. I just want to be ready. And because I know, I'm trying to tell you, your words were right on point. It was just confirmation, because I know I am at the precipice.
Yep. Jesus.
I already know that. I feel it. You know how you feel something,
I know up in your belly.
Oh, it's there. It's there. It's big time there. So I know that it is there, and I'm just waiting for it to unfold. I just know. And I kind of know what it is, kind of, but not really. But not really. But I'm just waiting. And so during this time, God is preparing me. So that's kind of how I kind of know, because He's preparing me. But I just want to just be obedient and stay focused and not distracted. That's the main thing, is not to be distracted.
Yes.
You continue seeking God's face like I've been doing, and just press in more to Him and allow Him to minister to me, and give me what He has for me. And that's just all I want. I just want y'all to pray for me and just keep me lifted. That's it.
Amen. Amen. Oh, thank you for that, Tracci. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Dangerous Mistrust: From the Death of Faith to the Resurrection of Destiny, by best-selling author Tracci Johnson. Okay. I need y'all to run, get this book. You can jump on Amazon right now. I already saw people saying I ordered my book. Praise God. Thank you for that. We love when you all make an investment into the authors that we have to come on and share their stories, because it's not always an easy feeling, right? To be this transparent, to share your story with the world. But we thank people like Tracci who are willing to do that, because we know that the things that we walk through, it's not always just for us. It's for us to be able to help other people heal from our stories. So Tracci, I thank you for allowing me to recognize some of those places in me that still needed healing, and giving me a blueprint to walk through that healing. I thank you for being here with us tonight and sharing your powerful story yet again. Again, remember to go to our YouTube page at It's Storytime with Stephanie, so that you can watch the first time that Tracci was on season three, and be able to hear her powerful story about dangerous mistrust, because we didn't even go into all of that, because we needed to talk about what was unfinished, right? So I am grateful that we were able to have this time to do that. And I cannot wait for the next book, because we got to keep having you come on.
Yes, I'm excited too.
So
it's gonna happen. It's gonna be all in God's timing. It's coming though.
All in His timing. So I just want to say thank you so much, Tracci. Thank you everyone on Facebook who was watching, for Instagram for watching. Thank you so much for just being a part of this platform, where we get to bring these amazing authors to share their powerful stories of transformation and healing and inspiration. You can listen to Storytime with Stephanie on all of the major podcasting platforms. And again, you can watch the replay on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook channel. So we just want to say thank you. I thank you for making this investment into our authors. I thank you for running again to Amazon to purchase Dangerous Mistrust. And I thank you for praying for Tracci, because that's the one thing she asked for. And that's the one thing that we shall do. We will pray for her that no distractions, no disruptions, no interruptions will come up against her in the things that God is calling her to do, that she will continue to be lifted up in the spirit, that angels will come and literally take charge and cover her in the realm of the spirit and in the natural, that her foot would not dash upon a stone, that she would know that God is with her, that he comforts her, that he keeps her, that he loves her. He loves her. He is in a love relationship with her. And she is one of his dearest, and she's committed. And so we thank God for that commitment that she has made to him. And he is going to keep every single one of his commitments to you, Tracci. He is going to continue to bring you the support system that you need. He's going to continue to allow you to have people that will undergird you. He is going to continue to allow his spirit to flow through you so that you can go out and do the work that he's calling you to do, to truly love on people, to help people heal, to help them be inspired. So I thank you. And we just plead the blood of Jesus over these prayers as we continue to pray for Tracci. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you all.
Amen. I felt that. Thank you.
Thank you all for being with us tonight. I just leave us with that last comment that I just love so much from Tracci that says, I haven't seen the best God has for me. You all have not seen the best that God has for you. We have not seen the best that God has for Tracci. We have not seen the best that God has for me. And I cannot wait until we actually see it all come to pass. So thank you for joining us tonight. God bless you. Share this out with your friends, those you know need to watch this, those who need to be healed and transformed by Tracci's powerful story. Good night. Thanks, Tracci, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Good night, everyone. Love you too.
Okay.
And I know Miss Brenda's back there. Love you too, Miss Brenda.
I don't know where she is. Okay, see you guys.
All right. Be blessed. Have a great evening.
Okay.